Good day, everyone. Eric Olsen from Helps Law Firm for Seniors. I'd like to welcome you to our YouTube channel today on Thursday. March 6th? Good to have you here. My name's Eric, attorney for 46 years, the founder of Helps. Helps is a national law firm that represents seniors and disabled persons who owe debt they can't afford to pay. And if you have any questions, you can put it in the chat feature. Someone wrote in, and they said, I have a lot of debt from January 2024. It's all been charged off, but now some companies are suing me and I cannot afford to pay. My only income is a small Social Security check, $1,000 a month. Can you help me? The answer is yes. That's what Helps is here for. HELP stands for Help Eliminate Legal Problems for Seniors. Our most important message to seniors is that your Social Security is protected. So is your pension, so is your disability, so is your VA benefits, 401k, IRA. Virtually all forms of retirement income are protected either under federal or state law, okay? And you don't need to worry. Yep, your Social Security is protected. And even if someone were to sue you and get a judgment, there's a federal regulation that went into effect in 2012 that tells banks or credit unions that if they get a writ of garnishment because of a judgment on your bank account, they examine your bank account, and any amount that you get as a federal benefit like Social Security, they times that times two, twice you get each month. That sum is automatically protected without you having to do anything. The bank will just protect it, send a letter back to whoever did the garnishing and say, there's not any money here for you, okay? So if you happen to have more than that there, it's still protected, just not automatically. But most people tell me, well, I can never have more than twice the amount of my Social Security in my account at any one time, then you have nothing to worry about. So that's what we do. And people find out about us. They call us on the phone. They decide to enroll. They give us the creditors they owe money to, the debt collectors or the creditors, and we're going to send what's called a cease and desist letter out. See, in 1978, a law was passed called the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, which provides if you send a cease and desist letter to a debt collector, they can no longer call or send you a demand letter anymore. And it also provides if you're represented by an attorney, debt collectors can't communicate with you. They have to communicate with the attorney, and that's what Helps does. We represent seniors nationwide who have debt they can't afford to pay in order to stop collectors from harassing them. And that's it. That's important for you to know. And it's just many seniors don't even realize that. And as I've said many times, I hate to repeat myself, but there's a lot of people who listen to this for the first time. So there's almost like a concerted effort from debt collectors or from people that are helping seniors with financial problems to keep this critical information from them. They don't want them to know that their income is protected. Instead, they want to try to get them to pay the debt. But it is protected, and you know, if you're struggling and you're lower modest in income and you can't afford to pay the debt, you don't need to. Your income's protected. Even if they got sued and got a judgment, you're going to be okay. We don't want you to worry. Okay. So yes, we can help seniors. So here's one. Someone wrote in either to a video we did on senior living or one of these YouTube videos with Helps. It says they keep pushing these title lock services on TV saying a crook can get a mortgage on my home. I'm living below 200% poverty level in Florida. Social Security, Social Security check. I was under the belief cannot take your primary dwelling or vehicle in Florida. Any insights? You know, these title lock advertisements are a crock of bull. Okay. I saw one today. I mean, there's some reputable guys on podcasts, and they advertise these title lock services. They're totally unnecessary. You know, they make it sound that someone can steal your house from you or put a mortgage on that you'd be obligated on, which is a complete lie. I mean, they could do it, but it's invalid, okay? No one could do it, but yet they sell this service like you need to have it. Sometimes I think some of these guys advertising this, and they're reputable people, I wonder if they even, you know, some of them are attorneys, I wonder if they understand the law. You can't, in order for you to get a mortgage, it's got to be you yourself, the one that owns the property has to be the one that signs it and it has to be notarized. Now, if someone fraudulently signed your signature or misrepresented that they were you, and even if it was notarized, it's not valid. It would be set aside. You don't need to have a company that gets a title, has some service that they're going to watch out for something like that. I mean, you could, but you got to realize when they advertise this, they make it seem as though they're going to actually be able to take your property from you, which is the furthest thing from the truth. It's the same thing with the timeshares. A while back they were advertising, all these companies were advertising timeshare relief. You had to hire this company to get you out of a timeshare. I've been an attorney for 46 years. I asked my partners a year or two ago in my old firm, I said, you guys ever remember we did tens of thousands of bankruptcies? Oh, man. And I said, do you ever remember a timeshare ever anyone suing anyone? And they said, no, yeah. And if you're a senior, if a timeshare, you don't need someone to get you out of a timeshare. You can simply stop paying it. Same thing as companies that used to advertise a whole lot to get you out of taxes. So this one on title lock is a crock of baloney, okay? I stopped working last year and filed taxes already, got a refund, state and federal, then I got a 1099-C from Discover. Probably don't need to worry about it. If you've already filed your taxes, they're probably not going to do anything. We don't see the government following up on 1099-Cs too often. Pretty rare. I've talked about it a whole lot. So you can look at a video I did yesterday, and we've got videos on this topic on our YouTube page. Okay. There you go. This person writes in, they say, I'm 74 years old. What about back federal taxes? I'll never pay them back. Well, okay. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and you're modest, moderate, or lower income or poor, you can almost always get on what's called currently not collectible status. That is a status with the IRS where they're not going to try to collect from you. They can see that your income is low enough you can't afford to pay the tax. Approximately $2,500 or less if you're a single, or $3,500 or less if you're a couple. Could even be a little bit more depending on where you live. And the closer you are to the poverty line and below, it's easy to get on it. Often you can get on currently not collectible status simply by calling the IRS on the phone. If you didn't pay that tax, what would the IRS do? About the most they would ever do is they would send you a letter that they intend to offset 15% of your Social Security after 60 days, which would give you time to contact the IRS and get on currently not collectible status. But if you're lower income or modest income and you owe IRS taxes, they may never even do anything. I think, they know your they know your income, and I think they set up their computer system so that they can see that, for them trying to collect from you isn't going to do any good. You could get on currently not collectible status. So a lot of times they don't do anything. But, the most they would normally do would and not even that normally, but most they could do would be to send you a notice saying that they're gonna offset 15% of Social Security after 60 days. That gives you plenty of time to get a hold of Social Security and get on currently not collectible status. We have emails that tell you how to do that. So you're going to be fine. Now, what if you owe the state taxes? Well, if you've been listening to me, you're going to know the answer. A state tax collector can't touch your pension, can't touch your Social Security. It's protected. It's even protected in your bank account, like from a judgment creditor. So you don't need to pay the tax collector. Now, obviously, we want to pay our taxes if we can, but if it's a matter of choosing between medicine and food and basic needs and paying the taxes, lawmakers have protected this income. Okay, your Social Security, your pension, your disability, this income is protected from you, and you don't need to use it to pay a state tax collector. If you can't afford to do it, you don't need to do it. Okay? So this person wrote in, I'm on Social Security. My husband has applied for Social Security and disability. My husband was in an accident and broke part of his body, and that's why he signed up for disability. We have credit cards we have not been able to pay, and we are receiving calls and letters constantly. I would like to look at the informational packet to see if this would help us. Yeah, I don't know if I talked about this yesterday, but you know, if this is your first time listening to me, I want you to understand what HELPS is. We're a national law firm that represents seniors and disabled persons in order to stop debt collectors from harassing them. Okay, so we that's our main mission. Our second mission is to educate seniors how they can maintain their financial independence. Okay, that's one reason we have these YouTube live sessions Monday through Thursday, so that we can answer your questions and talk about other things. But our primary mission is to, you know, protect seniors from collectors bothering them. When they find out about HELPS, they call us on the phone. We ask questions, and if they decide to enroll, we can enroll them on the phone. We click a button. You immediately get an email that says, "Welcome to HELPS," confirms you're a member of HELPS. Then you get us the debt collectors you owe money to, or the creditors. All we need is the name, address, and account number. We don't need the balance. And within 24 to 48 hours, we're going to send out what is called a cease and desist letter to that debt collector or creditor, letting them know that we represent you. So they know they can't communicate with you anymore. They have to communicate with us. They're going to leave you alone. So that's what we do. And then when we represent our clients, it's not just one time. It's literally forever. So if you get a new debt collection notice, you get that to us. We send a letter out to that new debt collector so they leave you alone. Now, if you got sued, you're going to get us a copy of the lawsuit. Usually we just need the first 3 or 4 pages. We need the name of the attorney, the case number, and we're going to send a letter to the attorney, let him know that your income is protected. If you owe the debt, you don't have to go to court. You can, if you want, represent yourself. We don't represent people in court, but you know, we let an attorney know that sued you. We let them know that your income is protected, so they know it's a waste of their time to pursue the lawsuit. But even if they were, I've explained how your money in your bank account is protected. Your judgment proof, they can't do anything to collect from you. You're going to be fine. And you can always call if you have a question, no matter how often. Okay? Okay. Okay. That's what I like. Is there anything that backs your service? BBB, Better Business Bureau. I hate asking. You come across as a very honorable man. Well, okay. You know, we have a bunch of emails in HELPS that address different topics. And I have one that talks about the Better Business Bureau. If I was more adept at the computer, I could draw it up and show it to you, but I'll explain it to you. The Better Business Bureau was founded, if I remember right, in the 1930s, many, many years ago. It's a dinosaur. I'll explain why. Better Business Bureau is not a government agency or anything like that. It's like McDonald's. It's private. You could buy a franchise for Better Business Bureau. You pay the main company Better Business some money, and you get to cover, you know, so many counties or so many towns or such a portion of your state. Okay, and then they have regulations within their company. The problem with the Better Business Bureau is it's really easy to manipulate the numbers or figures so that you could get a really high rating with the Better Business Bureau and still be a con. In fact, I learned this many years ago, first when I started first practice, and it's just been confirmed over and over again. Whenever I see a company that really, really super broadcasts the BBB, I say to myself, immediately a red flag goes up. I'm nervous because I know so many scam companies have used the Better Business Bureau to tout what they do, when in fact they don't. What they don't do is good. So what do you use if you don't use the Better Business Bureau? We've got the internet. It is so easy to find reviews on companies that come from a neutral source. You don't have to go through the Better Business Bureau. Not at all. I mean, all you have to do is, type in the name of the company, review, and you're going to come up with different sources that people are going to talk about them and what they do. You don't have to have someone filtering your reviews like the Better Business Bureau did. Before the internet, Better Business Bureau was good. Nothing wrong with it. But now that you've got the internet, there's so many different ways to find out about a company. I mean, for example, helps. All you have to do is, look at our YouTube videos, look at the comments, look at what people said. And, we got YouTube videos going back, way back when. And you can pick out one and look at the comments down below. So, the Better Business Bureau, that's great, but it's not what it used to be. There's far better ways to find out about whether a company is legitimate. But like I said, I get nervous when I see Better Business Bureau hyped by companies. For example, you've heard me talk about debt management companies and debt settlement companies. They always try to use the Better Business Bureau. And yet, will they ever tell a senior that calls them? With rare exceptions, they're never going to tell a senior that calls them who has debt problems, by the way, you don't need our service because all your income is protected. No one can take it. Instead, they sign them up, putting them in utter poverty, making a payment they can't afford to pay. So if you're a senior and you're looking for help with debt and you look at a debt management company and all of a sudden you see BBB and oh, gee, they got a real good BBB rating. You're not going to find out that debt management company is not really looking out for your best interest. And, Better Business Bureau never picks that kind of stuff up, okay? Yeah, you've got the internet now, Google has reviews. Even Google reviews can be manipulated a little bit, but there's different other ones. I mean, if you search, you can get plenty of information on someone, okay? I don't know what you mean about doing a credit freeze. Helps. We don't help people ourselves reestablish their credit. We do contract with a company called 720 Credit Score. When people have been part of HELPS for 90 days, they can enroll with 720 Credit Score, and it's called 7 Steps to a 720 Credit Score for seniors. And we pay this company, and I've known him for years, Phil Tyrone, some money each month so that he handles our clients that want to reestablish their credit, okay? So yeah, if you want to know about helps, look at our website, look at our YouTube page. Check us out. We're all over the internet. All over the internet. Okay. This other one I got a chuckle on. And I don't know if this was on another video we did with someone else or a comment on one of our YouTube videos here. It says, I'm surprised the wonderful service you provide isn't shut down by our government. Or is it in the discussions? I'm very hopeful it will never happen. It's not going to happen. No. We're not going to get shut down. Hopefully someday a lot more people are going to know about us, okay? Because a lot of people, they need this help. They need it. And more are finding out about it. That's why we ask you to press the like button, subscribe to our channel, share this with a friend, okay? People are so grateful when they find us. Okay. So this person writes in from Colorado. They say, long story short, I'm pretty much laid off 2 years ago during COVID. Very little income. In fact, I had to take out a loan I'm still paying on. I'm a substitute teacher, and they had to cut back to just looks like, just a few hours a week. I found out yesterday that these LVNV funding lawyers are going to be garnishing my meager wages at a 20% rate. Not going to happen. I'll explain to you in a minute why that's not going to be a problem, okay? This means my last job is now ruined, and I cannot understand the level of cruelty. I suffer from a lot of conditions. We're going to call this person back if we haven't already. I'm receiving my Social Security for only $362 a month. I'm receiving old age pension money from the state. Then they slash it in half for no reason. I am at great risk of becoming homeless, and I get food stamps. However, I'm now a senior, and I need to find a way to negotiate with Synchrony Bank on these judgments as well. I don't need to negotiate. You don't need to pay them anything. I'll explain why here in a second. I'm still trying to keep up with things, which feels overwhelming. I sincerely would like to have Synchrony Bank dismiss or discharge the amounts owed completely, given my age and inability to work. Is there anyone who could help me? Sincerely. Yeah, we can help you. Okay. Garnishment, it depends on state law, and also there's a federal law. Okay. First off, let me explain this. If you're working and you're worried about being garnished, first someone would have to sue you and get a judgment, and then they'd have to know where you work, okay? And then in every state there's a federal law that protects a minimum of $217.50 net per week in wages, okay? That's $435 every 2 weeks, about $950 a month, okay? Because there's more than 4 weeks in a month, okay? But and this person's only working 3 hours a week. They'd have to be making more than like almost $300, almost $100 an hour to be garnished. But I know they're not making that much. $217.50 net. That's after taxes are taken out. Okay, so for that reason, they don't need to worry. There's another reason. Some states protect more under state law and wages. Some states don't even allow your wages to be garnished. For example, Texas, okay? Now, in Colorado, they protect, they say we can garnish 20% of your income, your net income. But what they don't say, which she didn't pick up on, is that 15 times the minimum wage in Colorado is protected. And the minimum wage in 2025, this year, is almost $15 an hour, just a few cents less than that. So if you take $15 an hour times 15, that is what? 150, 150, 150. That's $450 net in wages each month. Each week is protected from garnishment, more than twice the amount that's protected under federal exemptions. So, and Colorado isn't the only state that does it. A lot of states protect more than just $217.50. So we're going to tell this person, you don't need to worry, you can make more even. But even if they did get a judgment, how do they know where you're working or who you're working for? There's no place you can go to find out automatically where a person's working. So, if you're a senior and you still want to work, go ahead and do that. And if you're self-employed, driving Uber, Lyft, or, you've got your own little business, whatever, yeah, there's no practical way they're going to get at that money. So you're going to be fine. If you want to make a little bit more extra money, do it. And he says, I'm still trying to keep up with things. You don't have to keep up with things. He says, it's overwhelming. We're going to talk to this person. We're going to give them a lot of relief when they find out that they're going to be, okay, I did the math wrong. It's $15 an hour times 40. So that's $600. 15 times 150, 150, 150, 150. That is $600 a week is protected from garnishment in Colorado. Not $450, $600. Yeah. So you're not going to worry. They closed my credit card accounts when I joined Helps. Well, yeah, if you had a debt, Mary, with a credit card company and we sent them a cease and desist letter, yeah, they're going to close your ability to use that credit card since you're not paying them anymore. They got a letter from us saying that you're not going to pay it, you can't afford to pay it. That's typical. Okay? But when people call Helps, one of the things we're going to ask them is, do you have a credit card with a small balance or nothing is owed that you still want to keep? And if the answer is yes, and it could be a larger balance, I guess, you can keep that credit card as long as that's not backed by a bank with whom you have another credit card you're not going to pay. Banks don't care about your other debt as long as they're getting paid. So, that's different than in bankruptcy. When you file a bankruptcy, all the banks and the credit card companies, they find out, they subscribe to a service that lets them know if you filed bankruptcy, and they automatically cut your credit off. Even if you didn't owe them anything, they're going to cut, but not with Helps. If you got a credit card that you want to keep paying or you owe nothing on, you could still keep that. Now, if you have another credit card that's backed by the same bank that you're not paying, then they're going to cut off both of them. Okay? So Radiance asks, my dad's Social Security and pension is a nice amount. Can a court order him to make arrangements with a debt collector because his retirement benefits are over a certain amount? No. Court can't order you. See, it's a federal law that protects your Social Security and your pension from garnishment. And a state judge can't order you to pay a debt. They don't get involved with that. That's not their only job is to make a ruling that you owe the debt. And then it's up to the attorney that filed the lawsuit, gets the judgment to try to collect from you. And he does that by filing a writ of garnishment and stuff like that. But no, a judge, it's not the judge's job to go out and try to collect money from you or order you to pay a certain amount of money. If it's protected money, it's protected money. Judge has nothing to do with it. Now, if money was taken from you and it was protected, it is the judge's duty or job to order that money be released back to you. So no, Radiance, no need to worry about that. So let's give me a crazy example. Let's say you got a 7,000, okay, O.J. Simpson, okay? Remember, he got a civil judgment against him from the parents of his wife, when they got a judgment against him. He got a pension from the NFL of over $30,000 a month. But the parents of Nicole Brown Simpson, had a judgment against him for millions of dollars. They couldn't touch his pension. It was protected. They couldn't take it. So it doesn't matter how big your pension is or how big your Social Security is. It's protected from garnishment. O.J. Simpson's the best example of that. There's other ones too. Okay? So Katrina asks, when I opened my new checking account a month ago, they used check systems. Boy, I tell you, I used to hear about check systems a lot. I don't hear about it very often. It's another one of the things that's gone by the wayside. You know why that is? Because now we got debit cards. I mean, I do write checks once in a while. Okay, guys, but not very often. What check system does is if you write NSF checks and your bank isn't reimbursed by that, and you closed your bank account out and you had money you owed to the bank, then they put you on what's called check systems, and a bank can subscribe to check systems, and it lets them know this guy owed money to this other bank. We better not open a bank account for him because he might do the same thing to us. So that's what check systems is. But there's a lot of ways to get around check systems. You know, if you get Social Security, you have your Social Security downloaded on a Direct Express card or debit card, and then there's there's banks called, a lot of banks have what's called second chance checking account. So there's ways to still get a bank account if you have a problem with check systems. We got an email that talks about that tells you what to do and how to do it. Contact us, we'll get that to you. Okay? But it used to be a bigger problem than it is now. It seems that way anyway. Okay. Yeah. I remember I was kind of late getting on debit cards. You know, everyone else was using debit cards. I don't know. It was the early 2000s. I carried cash or whatever, and finally I broke down and got a debit card. I remember I said to myself, why didn't I do this sooner? You know, it sure is a lot easier than worrying about a check or having cash on hand. The only problem I think it is for people is, you know, if you're renting, maybe your landlord doesn't take a debit card. Okay. I think more are all the time. Checks are expensive to buy. You know, if you write just a few checks, then you just go to the bank and ask them print a few. And they just print them while you're waiting, and they'll give them to you for free. Okay. So this lady who called us from Colorado, who is really stressed, doesn't need to worry. Okay. So here's one. It's kind of long. I'll try to summarize it. Okay. So this guy writes us, and he says an old customer of his is suing him for $70,000 in damages, resulting from us refusing to provide phone service. He was in the business of selling phone service or something like that. And he got into a dispute with him, and the guy swore at him or cussed at him. And so he said, I'm not gonna service you anymore. I don't have to put up with this abuse. And then it says he got his brother, the guy who swore or cussed at him, who said was mad at him. His brother was an attorney, and he got his brother to apparently sue him. Okay? And said a lot of things that weren't true and suing him for a lot of money. He says the guy that sued him lives in a multi-million-dollar house. And he says he is only collecting disability, getting food stamps. He says, I'm relatively happy. I don't need this guy digging up any dirt unnecessarily just to turn it over, finding nothing. I've lost a lot of sleepless nights. I can't afford an attorney to defend this fully. However, this guy is real evil. He will get a judgment and turn over every rock possible to find assets, money, whatever. Okay, let me talk about that for a second. I've been an attorney for a long time. I've had so many people come into me worried about some person coming after him and saying they're going to do bad things to me. I know it. And I've heard that so many times. And I've told a lot of times, I said, you know, they really can't do anything to you. Okay. You're judgment proof. Okay. They can't touch your Social Security. They can't touch your pension. Your other assets, they can't take. Okay. They can't do anything. The sooner, you know, eventually they're going to learn that, but they can't do it. You don't need to worry. So a lot of our clients sometimes, they worry when they don't need to worry. So what does HELPS have to do with that? When a person enrolls in HELPS, we're going to send a letter to whoever you owe money to, letting them know that your income is Social Security, that you have a pension, or whatever, and then it's protected. And we understand they're going to get a judgment. Remind them about the protected nature of your bank account, and we're going to let you know that too. And if you're getting other follow-up paperwork, you're going to get it to us. We don't represent people in court. Our clients don't need to go to court. We give legal information. We don't give legal advice. We don't need to give legal advice. We need to just tell you, hey, they can't do anything to you. So, yeah, the whole purpose helps. If you're worried or scared, you pick up the phone and you call, no matter how often. Okay? Okay. About, yeah, you can sue anyone in this country for about anything. You look cross-eyed at someone, you get sued, I guess. Um, but if you're a senior, retired with protected income, like I've explained, doesn't matter. You could have 1,000 people sue you. You're not going to have to go to court. Okay? If you're a member of HELPS, we'll send a letter to each one of those people that sue you, let them know that you can't pay it. You're not going to pay it. So you're not going to worry. Judge can't order you to pay it. Okay, you're going to be fine. I live in Oregon. Okay? But you got to understand, HELPS, we represent people in all 50 states. We've got employees all over the country. We've got employees in, I don't know, you name it. California, Georgia, West Virginia, Texas. I don't know, I can't go over the list. So we're all set up on a phone system on our computer so that, we all can talk to each other. If I ever get seen, I'll never forget how much help's helped me. Well, that's sweet. Thank you. And if I think of a story, I'll tell it. I do have lots of stories. Dee Dee says, I became disabled at age 50. I'm divorced at that time when disability began. My ex was fully retired at that time. But Social Security placed me on SSI, which when I had been entitled to my Social Security. He's now deceased. Yeah, so HELP stands for Help Eliminate Legal Problems for Seniors and Disabled Persons. It doesn't matter how old you are. You can enroll in HELPS. In fact, I think we enrolled someone yesterday that was 25 years old. They had something really bad happen. They had a bunch of debt, and they're going to be on disability long term. They don't need to file bankruptcy, didn't want to file bankruptcy, but they had a bunch of debt. And so we enrolled them. They're going to give us the creditors they owe money to. We're going to send them a cease and desist letter, and we'll represent them for the rest of their life if they want, so they don't have to deal with collectors. Now, the collectors are eventually going to wind down and go away. But if something happens, they incur a new debt down the road, they're going to give it to us. They don't need to worry. Okay? So this person contacts us, says, I nearly signed up with National Debt Relief. Then I heard about your program. I'm 72 and approximately $50,000 in debt. I need help. I'm interested in learning more. Please send me information. And we can send you information, but frankly, you learn more about us by getting on our website or listen to our YouTube videos and calling us on the phone. We'll go over this. National Debt Relief, that's, I think, a debt settlement company. There's two types. There's debt management and debt settlement. Debt management are nonprofit. Debt settlement or for-profit. Debt management is you pay a certain amount and they try to get your interest rate down, and they pay a monthly amount to your creditors and try to get them paid over 3 to 4 years. Debt settlement is you pay them money, they collect it, and then they try to offer money and settle them one by one. Neither one of those companies, even the nonprofits, with few exceptions, will tell a senior that calls them, by the way, you don't need our help because all your income's protected. You don't need to pay this debt. And you can send a cease and desist letter out, and they got to leave you alone. What I wish they'd do is they say, you need to contact HELPS. This is a law firm that helps seniors that owe debt, so stop creditors from harassing them. We're the ones that can help these people that are lower income or poor, okay, or even modest income. Okay. So this person calls us from North Carolina. I'm 69 years old. My wife is younger than that. So she's going to have a operation pretty soon, and they don't have any health insurance. She's not on Medicare yet. She's under the age, under 65. And we got Social Security income, and I'm working 4 days a week. We also have some savings that would be greatly cut into by a big medical bill. Could you please give us some information on how to approach the processes of assistance? We live in North Carolina. Well, it gets a little complicated to explain it right now, but I'll give a stab. Okay. So if their income is really modest, a lot of times a hospital will have a program where they can forgive a medical debt. Okay, that's number one. That's one option. The wife isn't going to be working, it looks like, so she doesn't have any income. So the only person at risk is the husband, but he gets Social Security, which is protected, and he's working 4 days a week. Okay. I'm not sure North Carolina, but let's say North Carolina just has federal protections. That's $217.50 net per week in wages. Okay, which means if he could adjust his income, if someone were to sue and get a judgment against the husband and the wife, first off, in order for them to take any of his wages, they have to know where he's working, which isn't that easy. And then he'd have to make more than $217.50 net. So if he was worried about that, he could adjust his wages down. He could theoretically file bankruptcy if he wanted to. He's making more than that. Bottom line, he's probably not going to need to worry about it. We talked to him. Okay. When we talk about help, we talk our clients about help. So sometimes we talk about what's the worst thing that could happen. Okay. And then we also have to factor in the likability, the practicality, not the likability, the practicality, the odds of that bad thing happening. And sometimes it's so remote that it's not even worth talking about. That's why I say people sometimes, I said, well, worrying about like that is worrying about the Martians coming for dinner on Saturday night, or worrying about going to Circle K tonight at 10:07 p.m. and getting hit by a drunk driver. I mean, that could happen, but you don't stop driving at night because you're worried about getting by a drunk driver. And if you did, we'd know what to do. But you don't stop doing things because of things that the odds are so remote that they're going to happen. Okay? Is there anything of suing Social Security for the mistakes and, practical matter? No. I mean, theoretically, yes, but practically, no. Yeah. There is a delay in phones, isn't there? Getting your answers. I don't know what's going to happen with phone calls. With government agencies, it could be tough. So this person contacted us from Arizona, and they say, I have a collection agency that recently started hounding me about an old debt that I had no idea what the heck the debt could be. I requested more information regarding the debt, and it turned out that the debt is an old account with Dell Computers. I had an account with them that I believed to be paid off. Honestly, didn't even know of the default. I never heard from them. There was no record of the debt on any of the credit bureaus, despite having filed a Chapter 13 bankruptcy somewhere in the mix and having gotten a HELOC. Okay. He said, offered to sell them to get them off my back. This offer was denied. Then the woman told me the date of the last supposed payment was years ago and past the Arizona statute of limitations for delinquent accounts. So it's my understanding that it shouldn't even be collected upon if in fact it is a valid debt. So here's the rule. There's a statute of limitations in every state that gives a creditor you owe money to, for a credit card, for example, how long they have to sue you. And it's normally from the date when the debt was incurred or when you last made a payment. So let's say the statute of limitations in your state is 5 years. So now they contact you, it's been 7 years or 6 years ago. Is it legal for them to contact you? It's not illegal. They can still contact you. They legally cannot sue you, but they could contact you. But if you made a payment towards the debt, then you could start the statute of limitations up again. So, yeah, it's not technically illegal for you to be contacted. So what these guys are doing is they're kind of like scam collectors. What they're, they find out about these old collections that are maybe the statute of limitations, they can't be sued, but they could still call you and say you owe this debt. And if they call 1,000 people, maybe they get 4 or 5 of them to pay them or make a payment arrangements. They count on a person's not knowing the law or being scared by them. And so you get one person, it's a good collector, and he calls, Mr. Jones, you owe this debt. We need to make arrangements for you to pay it. We don't want this to go further. I mean, there's things they can say to try to scare and intimidate you. And so that's one thing helps us here for is they'll get you the right information so that you understand this. And then, of course, if you're a member of HELPS, you don't even talk to these people. You get them to us. You say you're represented by HELPS, give them a name and number, and you hang up the phone. You don't need to communicate with them. I talk to occasionally HELPS clients when they call me and they say, I've been hounded by a creditor, I've been talking to them. And I tell them, no, you don't need to talk to the creditor. If someone calls you, debt collector or whatever, get them to HELPS. All you need to do is tell them you're represented by us. And if you can get their name and their who they are and stuff, we'll send them a cease and desist letter. It might be a new one. See, a debt collector could, if they can't collect from you, they may take the account and then sell it to some other new debt collector. But that doesn't mean you have to deal with that new debt collector. You're going to get it to us. We're going to send them a letter. They're going to leave you alone. Okay? We don't want you to worry about this kind of stuff. Yeah, Joyce talks about, I was in the hospital, $7,000 copay, $3,000, they give me 100% off. You bet. They do that a lot. So you say, I would try by calling 1 minute before they open. What I have found is that if you call later in the day, they're going to pick up the phone easier. Okay? So they're open to 5, but like 4 o'clock Pacific time is what 6 o'clock Eastern time, okay, or 7 o'clock Eastern time. And it's easier to get through later in the day. Not always, but you could try it. So this person writes in, my mom has worked her entire life, cared for her kids alone, took in anyone that needed help. At 87, she's still working mainly just to keep up with things like food and these credit cards. Just found out, this is one of the kids calling on, son or daughter, found out that her finances are a mess. She was too proud to say anything to us and now is drowning. Doesn't make much money from work. Social Security is not enough to pay her low cost rent, utilities, supplemental health care, and food, let alone the credit card debt that she has. There's 4 credit cards, all total around $20,000. She's been paying 30% interest on the cards. Behind on one card by a month, which is $900 minimum payment. She makes about $2,000 a month total. She hasn't filed taxes since 2020. So for now, bankruptcy is not an option. Well, you don't need to file bankruptcy. Are there any good tips to use when contacting these companies? I feel so bad. We could pay them off. We've already bought her a car. Yeah, they've already spent a lot of money on helping mom. She wants to pay them, but the interest is too high. And she's getting 1099-Cs. Doesn't qualify for a loan to consolidate. Of course not. No one's going to co-sign for her. Any advice would be helpful. Two cards that make up the most of the debt are with the same credit card company. I'm thinking of calling them this week to see about consolidating to one card and coming up with a plan. Any advice would be helpful. Sure, here's my advice. Stop paying the credit card debt. Mom doesn't pay anything. If your mom's worried about, get her on the phone with us. We'll talk to her. We'll talk to you and mom together, and we'll be able to explain to mom. Mom could look at a couple of our videos. I know mom wants to pay the debt, but she simply isn't able to. She doesn't have to pay the debt. She's not going to have to worry about the taxes. She's 87. She doesn't have to work if she doesn't want to. And if she does work and make a little bit of money, it's going to be protected. No one's going to be able to take it. She doesn't need to worry about this. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not, when I say it's wait for 2 hours, no, you can call helps. Doesn't matter when you call us. You'll get through. Yeah, if you're hesitating to call us and you're having these financial problems, please call, okay? People that finally call us are thankful they did. We're not scary to talk to. We're here to help you. We've got nothing but good news for seniors. Nothing but good news. If I could, tell you how many times people tell us how thankful they are when they find us. So call, okay? Okay, this person calls in or writes in. This says, my name is whoever, and I believe I have a judgment against me, though I'm not sure. I would appreciate speaking to someone. And they live in Florida. Okay. Saw one of our videos on YouTube and was interested in one of our videos about judgments because he believes he has a judgment against him. He attempted to help his son open a business. Son opened a credit card and car loan in dad's name. The debt is only in dad's name. The son can't help him because he was incarcerated or whatever. Okay, went over what we do, bank account protections and prepaid debit card. You will be going to the bank tomorrow to pull out $12,000 in savings. They will forward the creditors to us. He enrolled with helps. Yeah, he's not going to have to worry. His income and Social Security is protected. He's going to be perfectly okay. This person contacted us from Indiana. They have a lawsuit supplemental hearing with Discover today for a judgment, and nervous. He was going to had to call the court for some reason that day. Managed to quickly run over his protections. Ultimately, no need to worry. Told him quote our fees. He had to cut the call short as the meeting was about to start. An hour later, called back, ready to enroll. And we enrolled him. Okay. Yeah. Hi, this person from Florida contacts. I'm being sued by my credit card company, Suncoast Credit Union, and I would like advice. Thank you. Well, advice is if you're getting Social Security and a pension, you can't afford to pay it, you don't need to pay it. Then get a judgment they can't collect from you. Twice the amount is protected in your bank account. You're going to be fine. Okay, I'll do one more. I'm 76 years old with a lot of debt I can't afford to pay. I live on Social Security income and have no property. I don't want to file bankruptcy. You don't need to file bankruptcy. But I'd like to avoid the debt collectors. What are my options? Okay, we call him back. He understands that we assist with debt. He has unsecured debt that he cannot pay at this time. He needs at least 90 days to be able to, whatever. He served them, went over what we do. And called the next day and says, ready to enroll. We enrolled him. Yeah. So when you call helps, we're going to ask you some questions about your situation. And then you're going to read you a little script that explains what we do. 1 out of 5 of our clients get our help for free. Those that pay a very minimal amount. Okay? And then it ends after 4 years. So that, but then we represent you literally ongoing, so you never have to deal with collectors again. So that's right. Daylight savings time this weekend. I don't know about you, but I'm so glad when we get daylight savings time in. I'm so glad. Mrs. H says, years ago when my husband passed away, the IRS sent a letter for money. I asked why I was getting the letter. She said she was sorry and wasn't doing her job right and would not bother me again. Good. Yeah, if you've got one of these problems we've been talking about, don't hesitate to call us. 855-435-7787. Press the like button. If you have a comment, you'll put it in the comment or a question on the comment, and I'll try to answer that. I'll look at that periodically to try to answer those questions. Don't want you to worry. So it's been an hour. I've enjoyed this. I'm going to talk to you Monday, okay? Have a great day. God bless.